Hey guys, so since we're starting to learn about fairy tales, I wanted to tell you one of my favorite fairy tale stories. This is called The Frog King, and it comes from a book that my mother used to read to me when I was a little girl, and it's called The Complete Fairy Tales of the Brothers Grimm. Now, in this story, the setting where the story takes place is going to be in the woods by a little pond in the girl's backyard, the princess's backyard. And then the rest of the story is going to happen in the castle with the princess. The characters are going to be a princess, her father, the king, and a frog. Are you ready? Once upon a time, when wishing still helped, there lived a king whose daughters were all beautiful, but the youngest was the most beautiful. She was so beautiful that the sun itself, which had seen many things, was always filled with amazement each time it shone its light upon her face, and it shone even brighter. Now, there was a dark forest near the king's castle, and this forest, beneath an old linden tree, was a well. Whenever the days were very, very hot, the king's daughter would go into this forest and sit down on the edge of the cool well by the water. She would take her very favorite toy with her, a beautiful golden ball. We pretend this is our golden ball. And as she would relax and sit there in the shade by the cool well, she would toss the ball in the air and catch it, like this. And she'd sit there by the well, relaxing. But one day, she tossed her ball into the well, but instead of catching it, it rolled away. She watched as it rolled across the well, down into the water, and sank so deep she couldn't see it anymore. Her ball was lost. What do you think she did when she lost her favorite toy? She began to cry. She cried and she cried and she cried and she cried. Suddenly, she heard a voice. A slimy, wet frog crawled out of the well and spoke to her. It called out, "What's the matter, princess? Why, your tears could move even a stone to pity." When she looked around to see where the voice was coming from, and she saw the slimy, wet frog sitting there. She said, "Ugh, you old water splasher, I'm crying because my golden ball has fallen into the well." "Well, you can be quiet and stop crying," the frog said. "I'm sure I can help you and get your golden ball for you. But what will you give me in return?" "Whatever you want, frog," says the princess. "I'll give you my beautiful clothes, my beautiful crown, and my beautiful earrings, my beautiful necklace, anything you want if you get me my favorite golden ball." Well, the frog says, "I don't want your beautiful clothes or your crown or your jewelry. I just want to be your friend. I want to hang out with you and play with your toys and eat with you at your table and have yummy, tasty snacks." What do you think they'd eat? Peanut butter and jelly? "I just want to follow you around and be your best friend." And the princess says, "Okay, fine, whatever you want. Just get me my golden ball and I'll give you anything you want." So the frog hops down into the well, swims down, fetches up the golden ball in his mouth, and spits it out in her lap. But as soon as that frog gives her her golden ball, the princess forgets all about her promise to the frog. She takes her ball and she runs home with it. The frog calls, "Wait, take me with you. I can't run as fast as you." And he hops along. But she doesn't listen to him, and she forgets all about her promise, and she goes home. Later that night, she's sitting and eating her dinner with her father, the king, when all of a sudden, there comes a knock, knock, knock on the door. "I'll get it," she says, and she runs and she opens the door, and who do you think she finds? The frog, the slimy, wet, gross frog. She slams the door. She runs back to the table. She's tries to act like nothing's happening. And the king says, "Princess, my child, I can see that you're afraid. Who was that at the door?" "Oh, it's no one. It's just this nasty frog." "What does a frog want from you?" And she tells her father the whole story. She says, "Oh, father, yesterday when I was sitting and playing near the well, my golden ball fell into the water. And because I cried so much, the frog fetched it for me. And he wanted something in return, so I'd promised that he could be my best friend. But I never thought he'd get out of the water. Now he's outside and he wants to come in and play with me." Well, the king says, "If you've made a promise, you must keep it. Go and let him in." So she goes. She opens the door. She lets the nasty, slimy frog into the house, into the castle. And he hops along with her and follows her. And she sits back down to finish her dinner. And he goes, "Princess, lift me up beside you. I can't reach the table." So she doesn't want to. She tries to ignore him. But the king reminds her that she must keep her promises. So she picks up the slimy frog and she sets him on the table next to her plate. And he hops over and he starts nibbling off of her plate. What do princesses eat? Chicken nuggets? So he's nibbling. Do you think she's going to keep eating her dinner? Ugh. After a while, he's full. And she's done. And he says, "Princess, I've had enough. I'm full. Let's go to your room. We can play with your toys and take a nap." And the princess begins to cry. She goes, "No, I don't want him. I don't want him touching my slimy toys. I don't want to share." But her father, the king, reminds her. He says, "Oh, it is not nice to be mean to that frog. He helped you. He got you your favorite toy back. And you made a promise. And princesses must keep their promises. So you'll have to take the frog back to your room and play with him and nap just like you had promised." Ugh. She picks him up. She carries him down the hall to her room. It drops him on the floor. And he hops around. And he looks at her beautiful dolls and her cool Lego castles that she built, her little tea set. And then, he's tired. So he says, "Princess, princess, lift me up on the bed so we can take a nap. Because it's nap time." She looks at her beautiful princess bed, all clean, princessy. And she looks at that slimy, nasty frog. What do you think she does? Is she going to kiss him? Is she going to put him on her bed? She picks up this frog. She looks at it. She looks at her bed. She's had enough. She throws the frog against the wall. And when that frog hits the wall, guess what happens? He turns in to a handsome prince. Well, he says, "Oh, princess, thank you so much. Whew, I was under this curse by this wicked witch, and you've broken it, and now we can get married and live happily ever after." And that's just what they do. The end.